Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Restoring Connections podcast. Matt Dawson here. Great to be with you, wrestling through how do we build strength and resilience into our most important relationships so that they can go the distance. So when circumstances are tough, we're able to lean in, hang in there, and build depth, build trust, build beauty, build joy, all of those wonderful things that we want in our most important relationships. How do we go about it? Because we've got to do more than want that, right? If you want $1 million, you got to do more than just want it. You got to do something about it. Behavior produces certain dynamics in our relationships, right? And so we know we trust ourselves. We can see into our own hearts and we go, yeah, but I mean well. Isn't that enough? Don't you just know how important you are to me? Don't you know how much I love you? Isn't that enough? And the answer is no, because I'm not experiencing your heart. I'm not experiencing your feelings. I'm experiencing your actions. I'm experiencing the look on your face. I'm experiencing your words. I'm experiencing you making or breaking your promises. I'm experiencing your kindness or your anger or whatever. I'm experiencing your behavior. You're experiencing your feelings, but I'm experiencing your behavior. And I'm experiencing my feelings, but you're experiencing my behavior. So I need to be able to behave in such a way that actually builds this relationship, that builds trust and connection into this relationship. That's what we are wrestling with. So if that is what you are hoping for, you're in the right place. We're wrestling with this stuff all the time. And the deeper we go into this stuff, Core and I and our team, our community of friends, honestly, sometimes the less we feel like we know, the more it feels like the more we need to learn. The more we learn, the more we realize, my goodness, there is so much more to learn. Okay, so the question we are wrestling with in this particular episode is, can I validate your feelings without agreeing with your facts, right? This one is very, very important to me because there have been so many times in my core relationships where things get a little bit crunchy, where the relationship is strained, and I go into a very linear mode where I want to get all my facts organized. And if your facts don't line up with my facts, I can very easily get into a self-defensive posture where getting all of the facts organized, how do we put it? We often say, oh yeah, where I'm more interested in being right than being connected in this moment. And both are important because the truth is important. What's really happened is really important, but it's not as important as being connected, I think. I mean, that's what I've decided. You've got to decide for yourself what's more important to you. But if you want a core relationship to really work, I would suggest you make being connected more important than always being right. Yeah, there you go. So this one's a precious one for me because these are things that I have really learned the hard way. Okay, so how I would answer the question, can I validate your feelings without agreeing with your facts? I would say yes, to a certain extent. And I want to break down a little thing that I've put together here. This isn't exhaustive, and actually other people could probably do a much better job than me. But I've identified 7 layers to validating someone's feelings. And it starts very basic and it incrementally moves to greater and greater depth. And the ultimate validation, like the ultimate validatee connectiness, would be to go from 1 all the way through to 7. And when that happens, it's so good. It's so awesome. Sometimes it isn't possible. And I'll unpack that for us as we go through. But I want to highlight. Okay, so what does it mean to validate someone's feelings? Okay, number 1, because we got to wrestle with that. If we want to know, okay, well, can I do that while disagreeing with someone's facts? Because that's really important. I can't, if I experienced something, or you've experienced something, and it's like that, just you're telling me that was on Tuesday morning. For me, it was on Wednesday morning. I don't know how to change that. Like, that's just, we could try to wrestle it out. Maybe we've got, or do you think I said that? And I just don't believe that that's what came out of my mouth. Those aren't the words that I said. Has somebody got a recorder around here? If we did, then we could figure it out. But it can get really challenging when we simply disagree about what took place. Okay, but let's look at, in an ideal situation, what are the 7 layers of validation? What does it mean to validate feelings? Number 1, I understand what you're feeling. Okay? Really simple, basic. It means you're feeling afraid. You're feeling angry. Okay, I can see that you are feeling sad. I can see that you are feeling betrayed. I can see that you are feeling frustrated. I can see that you're feeling disregarded, dishonored, whatever. Okay, that's the basic starting point. I can identify the feeling that you are feeling. And that can be as simple as just repeating back. It's like, I feel sad. Okay, I can see you feel sad. So we're talking about really basic stuff here to start with, which actually isn't always that easy. Number 2, here's where it gets trickier. I understand why you are feeling that way, right? So I've listened to your story, and ideally I listen to your story and I go, okay, yes, you're feeling frustrated because you experienced that and then this. You were expecting that, but then you experienced this, and then this person said that, and then I came along right at the worst moment and I did this, and now you're feeling frustrated. Now you're feeling sad. Now you're feeling betrayed, whatever it is. Aha, I get it. I understand why you're feeling that way. Number 3, I'm okay with what you're feeling, right? And this is a really, really big one, because if I'm not okay with what you're feeling, right, that's where the train derails, is I understand what you're feeling. I understand why you're feeling it, but I'm not okay with what you're feeling. I need you to not feel that. I understand what you've experienced, but I need you to feel something different, because if you're feeling that, it freaks me out. So I'm not okay with that. Okay? Time out. Houston, we have a problem. End the conversation. That's another topic. But that's an important part. That's point 3 of the validation process is I'm breathing, I'm slowing down, and actually, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's not what I want you to be feeling, right? I'm bummed that you're feeling that way, but I'm okay with that. I've made peace with the fact that this is what you're feeling. This is why you're feeling it. These are the experiences, and I'm okay with what you're feeling. Number 4, I understand what you need to feel instead, right? Okay. So you're feeling alone. You need to feel supported. You're feeling rejected. And remember, bear in mind, at no point here am I talking about taking responsibility for your feelings. Remember, this is a core relationship. This is the kind of relationship I want to last for my lifetime. So, right, this is not about manipulation. This is about the fact that I actually love you, right? These are your feelings. You're responsible for your feelings, but I am acutely aware that I have potentially a lot of power to help you feel something different. Right? I'm a key player in your life, and I love you. So if I change my behavior a little bit, it might make a big impact on your life. And again, I'll repeat, I love this person. So I'm interested in how I can be helpful. Okay? Those are 2 different things. I'm not saying I'm taking absolute responsibility, because if you feel absolutely responsible, then you're going to really freak out and act like a freaked out, caged animal every time they feel something that you don't feel. I'm not talking about taking responsibility for what they feel. I'm talking about taking responsibility to be as helpful as you can because you love them. Okay? Number 4, I understand what you need to feel instead. Okay, I get it. You felt this, you want to feel that. And we're all unique, right? What are the go-tos? Between Cora and I, for example, or between me and my kid, for me, it's like, it's disrespect. It's like I really felt disrespected in that moment, or I felt humiliated in that moment. And that is a big, big deal to me. I don't know if Cora has ever even once said to me that, oh no, she has.
but very, very rarely, like, oh, that I felt humiliated by that, or I felt disrespected by that. That's like my go-to, whereas for her, that's her story to tell. She's got a different set of go-to things. These are these unbearable feelings that every once in a while, I or someone else in her life does something that causes her to feel that. Okay, I understand what you need to feel instead. Okay, I get it. That's an important next layer. You need to feel respected. Again, don't complicate it. I felt disrespected. I need to feel respected. I felt alone. I need to feel supported. I felt exposed. I need to feel covered. I don't know. Number 5, here's the next layer. I want to help you feel what you need to feel. So I understand what you're feeling. I understand why you're feeling it. I'm okay with what you're feeling. I understand what you need to feel instead. Maybe it ends there, but can we go another layer? I want to help you feel what you need to feel. I want to help you feel supported. Maybe I'm not there yet. Time out. I'm so triggered by the whole thing. I need to just get away and breathe. I'm going to come back when I'm ready. Okay, I'm in a space where I actually want to be helpful. I want to help you feel what you need to feel, right? And that leads to the next layer, right? And you can probably guess it. This stuff is pretty simple. I know what I can do to help you feel what you need to feel. I want to be helpful, but that doesn't mean I know what I could do differently next time. That doesn't mean I might go, that's okay, great. What does any of that have to do with me? I wasn't even there. I'm not even in this situation. So I help you. Awesome. Is there something I can do? Right? Hopefully you don't ask it like that. That would be terrible. Don't ask it like that. Ask it way more. I'm talking about your internal dialogue that you're having with yourself. You're better off asking that in a much kinder way if you want to actually ask it. Okay. That's number 6. I know what I can do to help you feel what you need to feel. And you can guess what number 7 is. The ultimate end of the validation process is I do it. I do the thing, I do the thing that I can do differently to help you feel what you need to feel. Okay. So the question is, can I go through that full 7 layers of validation without agreeing with your facts? And my answer to that is probably no, not really. I think, can I validate your feelings without agreeing with your facts? Yes, but only to a certain extent. Because where we really get hung up is on points 2 and 3. I understand why you're feeling what you feel, and I'm okay with what you're feeling. Because if we have a strong disagreement about the facts, we can really get hung up there, and we can't fully and with integrity go the distance of the full validation process. And sometimes it's just not possible. It's just not possible. It's just not a need that we're able to meet. Well, I have those kinds of experiences in my life where I just cannot agree with the fact. I'm never interested in arguing with you about what you're feeling. Then that is a fact. You're feeling that totally. And I'm never going to tell you that you should feel something different. Your feelings are your feelings. And I'm a big believer that there is no such thing as a wrong feeling. Feelings are feelings. Actions are another kettle of fish, right? Definitely such thing as a wrong or unloving action, that's for sure. So if we get hung up on points 2 and 3, right, I just simply am not able to, with integrity, say that I understand why you're feeling what you're feeling, because, right? And if the reason we can't understand it is that simply I wouldn't feel that way if I had those same set of experiences, that's on me, right? If that's why, I've got to deal with that. I've got to deal with the fact that I can't handle. That's where, it's like I understand why. I understand your experience, point 2, but I can't get to point 3. I'm not okay with that feeling, because if I experienced that, I wouldn't be feeling those feelings. That's on me. I've got to deal with that. I've got to be asking myself the question, why am I so uncomfortable with someone feeling something different than me, right? I think I know what you're supposed to feel in that situation. I really got to go time out. I got to deal with me. this is not cool. I need to go and find out why I'm so uncomfortable with you feeling something different than what I would feel if I experienced that, right? But this is something different. What we're talking about here is getting hung up on point 2, which is I simply cannot in integrity agree with the facts that you're laying out. I don't believe I said that. And the best I can offer is that given that that's what you believe you experienced, I can acknowledge that that's the feeling. It won't be as powerful, but you can skip point 2 and 3, and you can go straight to point 4, which point 1 again is I understand what you're feeling, don't understand why you're feeling it, and I'm not even necessarily okay with what you're feeling, and I'm going to skip straight to point 4. I understand what you need to feel instead. I want to help you feel what you need to feel. I know what I can do to help you feel what you need to feel, and then I do it. And that sometimes is as good as we can do. Sometimes that's the best we can do. And it's better than nothing, that's for sure. Give that a crack. As a final point, I'll say this. The quicker we resolve things with each other, the less likely it is that we get hung up on point 2 because the facts are reasonably clear. If it's something that happened yesterday, like even, so good. Well, I had a team meeting this morning, with a particular team that I'm a part of. And immediately after the meeting, I get a message from one of the people in the group that says, "Hey, can you clarify this? You said this in the meeting, and I'm wondering if you can just clarify that for me, what you meant by that, because that impacted me in a certain way." So helpful, because straight away we're both as clear as we possibly can be as to what exactly it was that I said. If we wait for a week, memories get real fuzzy real quick, and it's way more likely that I'm going to be going, did I say that? I don't think I said that, and I'm not sure. Now the validation process is really limited, at the very best, I'm going to be able to go, okay, I don't really remember, but I assume what you're saying is right. But if we do it quickly, it can make for a really, really powerful validation process, because it's going to be much easier, not necessarily easy, but much, much easier. We've got a far better chance of agreeing on the facts and therefore being able to make our way through the 7 layers here of validation. Okay? Hopefully you find that helpful. If you're if you're a very circular processing kind of a person, you might listen to all that and just be like, what on earth are you even talking about, Matt? Why would anybody need that to define that process? Just like, be nice. My goodness. Why would anybody even need to be talking about what it means to validate? This is so basic, right? There are a lot of people out there that are much more empathetic than I am, and a bit more circular in process. And so I'm asking for those people out there to bear with us linear types. This is more how we think. We think in very linear ways. And so this is my gift. This is my little offering to all the linear thinkers out there who need it a little bit more, starting point, finishing point, and what do I do if I get hung up on the facts in between. Okay, hopefully you find that helpful. We'll leave it at that for now. Lots of love, friends. See you next time.
We hope you found the conversation and stories on today's podcast helpful and insightful. If you want to go deeper, Restoring Connections offers online courses that cover key topics like personal responsibility, proactive care, powerful communication, and healthy boundaries. Go to www.restoringconnections.nz for more information. This podcast is funded by generous supporters from all over the world. Please consider supporting by going to the Restoring Connections website and hitting the Contribute button. By partnering with us, you're helping to provide mentoring, workshops, and training to others who are also restoring their connections.